Hi there, and welcome to another episode of Piano TV. So today we are going to address a common problem that people do wrong all the time, but it's fairly simple in theory, and that is how to put stems on the notes and which way to put them. So if you have a note, stems are like those little lines. They're stems. As musicians, we tend to read a lot of music, but we don't necessarily tend to write a lot of music. So on those occasions where we are trying to sit down and actually write something down, it can look like a kindergarten scrawled it because we have no idea what we're doing when it gets down to it. So hopefully in this video we can solve some of those problems. First of all, when the stems are going down, it's going to be, see how it's kind of on the left side. And then when the stems are going up, it's on the right side. I know that seems kind of beside the point, but again, I see a lot of mistakes with that. And not just with 6-year-olds. So how do you determine then if you need to draw an up stem or a down stem? So by looking at this, you might have already figured it out. If there's just a single melody line, it's super, super easy. You have this line in the middle. In the right hand, that is our B. Basically, everything higher than this B, the stem goes down because it just makes sense. There's more room for the stem to fit at the bottom. Like with this F, if I tried to draw it up, it would be reaching way up into probably another part of the music, and that wouldn't be good. And then in the other direction, once you get lower than that middle line, the stem goes up again, just because there's more room. Like if I tried to draw a down stem there, it would go into the bass clef. So it's more just a matter of function. So with that middle note, it's actually totally your call. Do you want the stem to go up? Make it go up. Do you want the stem to go down? You can make it go down. But it's not always as simple as that. Sometimes you have 8th notes that are linked together, or 16th notes, not in this instance though. So when you have notes that are joined together, you just follow the law of averages. Are most of the stems below the middle line, or are most of the stems above the middle line? So let's look at these guys. So as we already know, B right here is in the middle. So that stem could kind of go in either direction. And there's 2 notes below it. You have an A and a G. And both of these would ordinarily have stems that go up. So since there's 2 notes here with up stems, this B is just going to adopt their system of stem direction, and they're all going to go up together. Now, there's other kind of trickier ones. So right here, B would actually be in the middle. And in that case, you, again, go with the law of averages. So you have one note that's below the B line, and that stem, like this A right here. The stem would naturally go up. But then you have the 2 notes beside it, 2 C's, where the stem would naturally go down. So since there's 2 of those guys, you just end up putting all the stems going low together. And normally, if you have a lot of notes after, these ones, there's 3 of them in a row, and normally the stems for C would go down like that. But since this one is so much farther away, these C's adopt the E's way of stem direction, just because there's such a significant gap here. So let's look at another example of this with a Bach song. And again, the direction of the stem all comes down to a majority rules system. So if you think about B is your middle line, and then you have, in this whole pattern, 3 out of 4 of the notes are higher than the middle line. So by that rule, the stems would go down. But they also go down for another reason too, because the distance from this B to this G is 6 notes, whereas the distance from the middle line to this G is only 3 notes. So there's a lot more notes going higher, and there are a lot more notes that are further away from that middle line. And if we look here, we see kind of the same thing. So B is our middle line. In this case, we only have 2 notes that are just 1 step above it, and we have 2 notes that are below it, but these are quite a bit more than just 1 step. This one is 3 steps, and this one's 5 steps. So that explains why the stems are going up. Majority rules again. And then in this one, you get kind of the same thing. Again, B is here. There's only 2 notes above it, and the 2 notes that are below it are a lot lower. But wait, there's more. So all these rules are well and good when you just have one part in the staff, like a single melody line, like you see in the right hand here, just 1 line. But what happens when there are 2 separate parts trying to fit into one staff? So back to the same example from before, the Bach song. If you look at the left hand, you'll see that there's some weird stem direction things going on. Like this one, by all accounts, should not be sticking straight up because there's much more room for that stem to be going down. The reason it's split up like this is because it's indicating that there are 2 separate parts. So if you see this C, C, B, B, and so on, that's meant to be kind of a slightly lower part that if you were, say you had two people singing, one person would sing this line and the other person would sing this note slightly above it. So you think of them as two parts instead of like joined together. And the way music can indicate if there's two separate parts as opposed to just like, I don't know, playing a chord or something, is by manipulating the stem direction. So with the lower part, the stem is always going to go down. As you can kind of see if you look through it, all the half note stems are going down, and for the upper part the stems always go up. This is true in the right hand too, and it happens a fair amount in music, even in like relatively beginner level stuff where you have more than two lines, like more than just a melody and a harmony. So the gist of stem direction is this. So follow the normal rules if there's only one tune in your music, like maybe it's some chords and a melody. But if there's more than one line of notes on a single staff, like bass clef, the stems need to go in opposite directions. Otherwise, you would never know that it's supposed to be a split part. And that, my friends, is all there is to stem direction. So hopefully you learned something from this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. That would be awesome. It would make my day. And we'll catch you next time. Where's my spot on the mouse?